Something is stirring at Aston Martin. A car designed by Adrian Newey, a name that has dominated Formula One for decades. But this isn't just another chassis. Behind the green paint lies a gamble worth millions, a partnership with Honda that could make or break the season, and secrets the paddock isn't talking about. The AMR 26 is about to hit Silverstone. And what happens next could change the grid forever. We'll get to the technical marvels in a moment, but first, you need to see why everyone is holding their breath. The first thing to understand is that Aston Martin is no longer just a traditional midfield team. The arrival of Adrian Newey changes everything. This is a designer whose ideas have won 14 Drivers' Championships and 12 Constructors' titles. His move from Red Bull to Aston Martin isn't just a headline, it's a seismic shift for the paddock. Everyone knows Newey's reputation, but few realize the magnitude of the pressure he now carries. Expectations are sky high, and the team's credibility hangs in the balance. Lawrence Stroll has invested heavily. The AMR Technology Campus in Silverstone is unlike anything else on the grid, a facility built from the ground up to rival the likes of Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull. Hundreds of millions of pounds have been poured into infrastructure, from the wind tunnel to advanced computational resources. Yet while the campus is impressive, the real question is whether the team can fully utilize these tools. Newey's arrival is meant to ensure that every advantage is exploited, but the learning curve remains steep. The AMR 26 will be Aston Martin's first car designed under Newey's guidance, and it represents more than just a new chassis. It is a statement of intent. This is a team attempting to move from aspiration to reality in the most competitive sport on Earth. Every design decision, every innovation, must deliver results immediately, or the risks of failure become magnified under scrutiny. Observers know the AMR 26 is critical, but few outside the factory understand how much of the car's potential depends on the seamless integration of chassis, power unit, and driver feedback. Speaking of drivers, Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll bring contrasting but complementary skill sets. Alonso offers decades of experience and an almost photographic memory for how cars behave in specific corners under specific conditions. His insight is a goldmine during a regulatory reset, when historical references are limited but crucial. Lance Stroll, meanwhile, provides concise, precise feedback reminiscent of Kimi Räikkönen's legendary minimalism. Together, they offer Newey and the engineering team two different lenses through which to refine the car, but they also introduce complexity. Managing their feedback effectively is just as critical as the technical design itself. The Honda power unit adds another layer of intrigue and risk. Honda's return as a works partner brings immense potential but also uncertainty. The 2026 regulations emphasize electrification and require a complex balance between internal combustion and hybrid output. Honda admits there are ongoing struggles in finalizing the engine, and integration with Newey's chassis is not yet seamless. Observers inside the paddock are already speculating on whether Aston Martin will have a power deficit on day one, a detail that could shape the first few races of the season. Time is a relentless factor. The AMR 26 is scheduled for its official unveiling on February 9th, just 2 days before the first public test in Bahrain. That leaves Aston Martin a narrow window to transition from secrecy to scrutiny. Every innovation must be ready, every iteration finalized, and every system synchronized. Even minor delays or misalignments could compromise the car's debut, exposing weaknesses that rivals are eager to exploit. The compressed schedule amplifies the pressure, making every detail critical and every misstep more visible than ever. Finally, it's worth noting that while Aston Martin has built a world-class facility, the simulator and data processing capabilities still lag behind top rivals. Newey has flagged this publicly, and Lance Stroll confirmed it in interviews. This creates a subtle but meaningful disadvantage in development, where simulation often determines the speed and efficiency of updates before a car even hits the track. The AMR 26's promise is enormous, but the team is walking a tightrope. Success requires not just genius, but coordination, discipline, and a little luck. Honda's return as a full works partner promised Aston Martin an engine tailored to Newey's AMR 26. On paper, it's perfect. Bespoke design. Seamless integration. Power split roughly 50-50 between combustion and electric. But insiders are quietly signaling a different reality. There are integration challenges that Newey himself has flagged. The engine is still being finalized, even as the team prepares to unveil the car. Koji Watanabe admitted that development is behind schedule in certain areas. Nothing catastrophic yet, but enough to raise eyebrows. The AMR 26 will hit the track with questions that might not be answered until mid-season. And then there's the compression ratio loophole. Mercedes and Red Bull exploited it for extra horsepower. Honda, for now, cannot. That could mean an immediate power deficit, a detail many outside the factory have already started calculating. But here's the catch, the AMR26 isn't just a car. It's a system. Aerodynamics, hybrid deployment, energy recovery, all of it depends on coordination between chassis and engine. Early indications suggest the synchronization is still fragile. And that is where the story gets serious. And here's where things start to get complicated. The FIA's 2026 regulations are designed to reset the field. New engines, new aerodynamics, new energy rules. But the rules are full of gray areas. Loopholes exploited by Mercedes and Red Bull have already shifted power. Honda, Aston Martin's new partner, is not benefiting from these gaps. That means the AMR26 could be running at a disadvantage right from the first test. Inside Aston Martin, tensions are quietly simmering. Newey's meticulous approach clashes with the pressure to get results immediately. Reports suggest disagreements over engine packaging and chassis integration have led to late nights in Silverstone. Every decision feels like walking a tightrope. Financial stakes are immense. The AMR Technology Campus, the CoreWeave wind tunnel, and the bespoke Honda engine cost hundreds of millions. A failed debut wouldn't just hurt morale, it would raise serious questions about the return on massive investment. And then there's Newey himself. The genius designer has never been a team principal before. Now, he's responsible for not only the car's design, but strategy, people, and results. Can one man manage both roles effectively? The contradictions are everywhere. On paper, Aston Martin is poised for a breakthrough. In practice, the integration issues, regulatory gaps, and team pressures could turn brilliance into frustration. Most people will only see the green car on launch day. But the real drama? It's happening behind the closed doors of Silverstone. And what happens there may define Aston Martin's 2026 season before a wheel even spins in anger. What no one outside Silverstone seems to grasp is the full scale of Aston Martin's gamble. The AMR26 isn't just a car. It's a convergence of investment, technical ambition, and human talent. Yet cracks are already visible. Honda's engine struggles, the simulator gap, and Newey's dual role introduce risks that could ripple across the season. There are winners and losers before the car even turns a wheel. Mercedes and Red Bull benefit from regulatory nuances. Ferrari and McLaren arrive with stability and momentum. Aston Martin? They are navigating a perfect storm of expectation and uncertainty. History shows the danger. Think back to Ferrari in 2019, when a clever concept initially looked brilliant but ultimately exposed hidden weaknesses mid-season. Or the DAS system at Mercedes in 2020, genius in design, but risky under scrutiny. The AMR26 sits somewhere between these extremes, brilliant on paper, but untested in reality. Inside the team, the politics are subtle but intense. Newey's authority is absolute in design, yet he must now influence strategy, morale, and execution. Andy Cowell, former team principal, has moved to a strategy role. Mike Crack focuses on trackside performance. These shifts were designed to streamline operations, but tensions reportedly linger. Every disagreement could have consequences when the pressure of early season performance hits. Another layer rarely discussed is the psychological state of the drivers. Alonso endured a brutal 2025 season, the kind that can erode confidence even in a seasoned champion. Stroll, efficient and precise, carries the weight of expectation as the owner's son. How they respond under pressure could shape development feedback, and in turn, the AMR26's evolution. Finally, the broader paddock watches silently. Every observation, every test lap, will be scrutinized for weaknesses or hidden innovations. Aston Martin may have one of the most advanced cars ever created, but the margin for error is minuscule. Behind the headlines and glossy launch photos, the real story is unfolding, a tale of potential brilliance shadowed by uncertainty, risk, and a countdown to revelation. The future of Aston Martin in 2026 hinges on a single question: can brilliance overcome uncertainty? If the AMR26 delivers even a fraction of its potential, it could catapult Aston Martin into championship contention. Alonso's experience and Stroll's precision could amplify every advantage the car offers. A few strong weekends might reset momentum and shift the paddock's perception of the team. Yet if early problems persist, the consequences could be severe. Honda's engine issues, simulator limitations, and organizational adjustments could compound, leaving Aston Martin vulnerable in races where milliseconds decide positions. Every misstep could amplify pressure on Newey, the drivers, and the entire technical staff. The ripple effects extend beyond the team. Rival constructors are already watching, calculating weaknesses, and adjusting strategies. Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, and McLaren arrive with certainty in their packages. Aston Martin's unknown variables may force them to rethink setups and risk management. Regulatory influence could also shape outcomes. The FIA's decisions regarding engine compliance, energy recovery, and aerodynamics could either favor innovation or penalize miscalculations. Aston Martin's ambitious designs are pushing boundaries, and every interpretation of the rules will matter. Strategically, the AMR26 may influence development paths across the paddock. If Newey succeeds, teams might emulate Aston Martin's integrated approach to chassis and power unit design. If the gamble fails, it could serve as a cautionary tale about the perils of rapid transformation under new regulations. Ultimately, the AMR26 is not just a car, it's a barometer for Aston Martin's 2026 campaign. Every race, every iteration, and every decision will test whether the combination of Newey's genius and Stroll's investment can overcome the inherent risks of starting a regulatory reset from behind. The implications are massive, and the world is watching. And yet, even as the AMR26 is revealed to the world, the story is far from over. The car on launch day is only the beginning. Every test lap, every simulation, will either confirm Newey's vision or expose hidden flaws. Honda's engine development remains under pressure. One unresolved integration issue could cascade across the season. The team's simulator gaps may hide weaknesses that only appear under race conditions. Rival teams are watching silently, ready to exploit any mistake. Every aerodynamic trick, every hybrid deployment strategy, every innovation will be scrutinized and tested. And inside Aston Martin, the human element remains unpredictable. Alonso's patience, Stroll's precision, and Newey's dual role as designer and team principal are all variables in a complex equation. A single misstep could have consequences that echo far beyond one race weekend. For the 2026 season, this is a team walking a razor's edge. A flash of brilliance could elevate Aston Martin to new heights. A miscalculation could turn ambition into cautionary tale. And the final question lingers: can Newey's genius, combined with massive investment and an elite team, overcome the uncertainties of regulations, engine development, and human performance? No one knows yet. And that is why every eye in the paddock will be on Aston Martin this season. Because this may only be the first chapter of a much bigger story.